everybody. Welcome to the Love Made Me Do It web series where we are here to kick off the episode one. And our topic on tonight is Marry the One Who. I do have some special guests that will be joining us on tonight. So, first and foremost, let's go ahead and like and share and invite everybody to come on in because I believe that everybody can take part and learn from this conversation that we will be having on tonight. So, take a couple of seconds to share, invite your friends, your family, your neighbors, your brother, your sister, whoever else you may believe that need to hear and take part of this conversation. Our special guest on tonight is none other than Miss Fiona James, as well as Mr. Royce Lovett and his lovely wife, Miss Hannah Lovett, as well. And I'm going to introduce them and tell you a little bit more about them once they actually come on, and then we are going to dive right on into this conversation. Like I said before, this is a conversation you do not want to miss. So please make sure that you are sharing and inviting. So after this commercial break, I will bring none other than our special guest for the evening. Love can make you happy. Love can make you sad. Love can make you angry. A story of love. Urgency.
Oh, I ain't got time for this. Bye.
Thirst. And destruction.
Oh, I thought you didn't talk. Okay. You want to play games? You can play that game. All right, so what you just saw there was our trailer for the hit stage play Love Made Me Do It, which will take place on August 22nd in Macon, Georgia at the historic Douglas Theater. And you can find out more information and ticket sales on our website at www.levelupprostudios.com. And so now I'm going to be bringing on our special guest for the evening. Our special guests are, like I said, is Mr. Royce Lovett and his wife, Miss Hannah Lovett. Mr. Royce is a underground hip hop artist, and when I say he is dope, he is super dope. And Miss Fiona James is an author of the book "Marry the One Who," which is our topic for this evening. And so I'm going to bring our special guests on, and we're just going to get it popping and everything like that. I don't want to waste any more time, so let's bring them on. Let's see. All right, here we go. How are y'all doing today? Oh, I think I have y'all muted. There we go. How y'all doing today?
We're good. All right. Good. Thanks for having us. What's up?
Good. I am so super duper excited to have you all to join the kickoff of this Love Made Me Do It series. When I say this topic is much needed, as well as the other topics that we will be discussing on days to come. And so what other great ways to have some great influential people to kick off this awesome project. And so I just want to thank y'all for taking your time out of your busy schedule to join in and to chime in and give your insight on what this topic is about on tonight. So how y'all feeling during this quarantine?
We're good.
Doing good, taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time. Grateful for the lessons we're learning.
Right. Listen, I'm trying to hang in there, working from home and everything, and so God is still good through it all.
Yeah.
So we're blessed and we can't complain. So we're trying to get Miss Fiona James on as well. I believe there's some technical difficulties going on, but we're going to, keep it rolling and everything. And so, for those of you that do not know what this web series is for, it is basically to help singles, people in relationships, and married couples to build healthy relationships and marriages. Especially during this quarantine time, it's very, very important that we, instill that insight and important information to help people. Because looking at your spouse every day, 24/7, possibly, it can be kind of hard. And so, I believe that stuff like this is very, very helpful. I'm just 23, so I'm learning myself. I'm single, so I'm ready to hear, everything that will be discussed on tonight. And so I am just excited, and I'm trying to get her on here. And so I saw her name pop up, and I think somehow it knocked her off. Let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna send her a message to come back in.
No worries.
All right. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and still jump start and kick it off and everything, and then whenever she comes in, we'll keep it rolling.
Cool.
All right, I think she is coming in actually now. All right, here she is.
Oh,
Hey.
Hey, we're making it in there. So glad to have you. I was just expressing to Mr. and Mrs. Lovett their thanks, and as far as taking time out of their busy schedule to come on in and give insight to people on this subject matter. And so I want to extend that same thanks and gratitude to you as well. Now that you're on, and just so super super duper happy to have each of you on this episode, the kickoff.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem.
I'm
So
excited.
we're going to kick off this thing with Mr. and Mrs. Lovett. And so we would like to know, how did you all meet? And how did you all know that you were the right one for each other?
Ooh. That's a big question. You want to go ahead? You go first.
I guess. I mean, we met through friends. We didn't go to the same high school. We didn't go to the same church. We didn't hang out in the same areas. But I think, I was friends with
one of my really good girlfriends. Was friends with him, and they had known each other for years and years. And and I kept hearing his name come up every now and again. Finally, we all started going to this PK group, or Pastor's Kids type of group, where we also started playing music together. And
we started a band.
Right.
A worship band, and I was playing drums, and she was singing and playing.
I was singing backup. I was doing it more for fun. I mean, I'm not a singer, but I was singing background, that type of thing. And so that's
how we met.
Yeah,
that's how we met. How we knew it was the right thing. I'll answer for myself. So, somewhere around 7th grade, I just kind of felt like it was really dumb to date one girl. Now, everybody listening, don't take this the wrong way. I'm trying to say it the right fast possible. But I thought it was really dumb at that age to just be like, I'm gonna date one girl. Right. And then I just kind of felt dumb because you're just dating one girl. So I was like, I think the easiest and the best thing to do is just to have friends. And so I had lots of friends, and then I wasn't exclusively dating anyone from 7th grade all the way to, what was that, 10th grade?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was.
We should probably preface this with we got married when I was 19 and he was 20, so we were.
Yeah.
I was only maybe 3 years out of high school.
Yeah. So, around 10th grade. And at this time, I was still building this relationship with God and trying to figure out how to hear his voice and stuff. Right. And I started developing feelings for Hannah, and I didn't want to just jump into something because I think when you date someone, when you break up and you date and you break up, instead of practicing relationships, you're more so practicing how to break up. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, I don't know if I want to jump into this. And then I prayed about it. And I know I've heard God like 5 times in my life. And the second time was him saying, you should marry this chick. So that's what I did.
Wow. So it's such a great feeling to know that, first you're young, and then secondly, to know that the foundation was church. You don't really find that, in a lot of, people and couples. And so that is awesome to know. So just out of curiosity, who approached who, and who approached who, and what was the necessary steps that you took to capture the other's attention? However you
we didn't approach I didn't approach her. She didn't approach me. It's funny a story. I told someone at my school I liked her, and some chick in my class knew her from like elementary school.
Right.
And
she still had my number.
Still had her number, called her and was like, hey, I heard this dude at my school like you. And so that's how that happened.
Right.
All right.
My way, but I still wasn't interested in him like that. I was just like, oh, well, I know who he is and we've been hanging out, but I see him more definitely as a friend than anything else.
Yeah.
So it took him some, I don't know, growing on me.
So we're just gonna sum it up and say that the Lord put it together.
Jesus did it.
So that's the third, interesting and fun fact. I'm loving it. So before we get, into the meat of this topic, marry the one who, I kind of want to start at the very beginning to kind of, I don't want to leave the single people out and everything because, I'm a single young man, 23 years old, and sometimes, we don't really know how to function or maneuver the right way when it comes to being single. Sometimes we may feel like, we need somebody, but we don't have that guidance as it pertains to knowing how to handle being single. And so I want to ask Miss Fiona James, why is it important to fully embrace being single before pursuing a relationship?
Well, I think first and foremost, in your singleness, you can actually develop your relationship with God first. Love stems from the Creator. So if you first learn how to have a relationship with Him, a whole and complete relationship with God first, then of course you can then learn self-love, self-peace, date yourself. Go out to the movies. Well, not right now during COVID, you know what I mean. Date yourself, do things alone first and become a whole person on your own. Because a lot of times what single people do is when they enter into a relationship, they have all of these issues they've never dealt with. Even if they have dated and had hardships in their dating, tenure, they tend to bring that or carry that over into their actual relationship. And so then what happens is you have all of this friction and tension that's there, and you have a person who is incomplete. They're not healed, hurt people. And so take that time to really also find out who you are, establish your own identity as an individual, because hopefully if you're dating for purpose, and the person that you meet and you do marry, your two individualities as far as what you're called to do will then connect and line up.
Wow, that's very, very good. And so I know, like I said, I'm a single person. And so one thing I've discovered in, me being single is it's very, very important to first develop a relationship with Christ. That
Most
way
definitely.
you can, understand how he goes about loving his children. How can you develop a relationship with a man or a woman and, try to love a man or a woman, but you don't really know, how God does. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
And so, for me, I can only speak for myself, and I always tell people that I can't speak for nobody else but myself. But to understand that God is love and how he operates and stuff like that can go a long way, can actually help you be effective in a relationship or a marriage. And so, yes, balancing, embracing being single is very, very important because, not to be so needy in that stage, like discover Jesus and all of that stuff. So all very, very important.
And also to your point, the first part of my book is called In the Beginning, Adam and Eve. So it actually touched on something that you said as far as learning how God loves,
Yes.
and then how he loves you as a person. That way, if you're receiving love, because a lot of people, don't know what love is. They feel like if it doesn't hurt, it ain't love. That is not true, honey.
Right.
So the first part of the book kind of describes that as far as what God's love consists of, and then what he intended it to be through Adam and Eve as well.
Right. So I want to get both of your perspective on this, and it's very, very important as well as far as balance. What is your take on balance or finding a balance in a relationship or a marriage? I want to ask Ms. Fiona that while we're on your side.
Balance is very important. As I mentioned before, because a lot of times people can be clingy in relationships and in marriages too once you get to that place. But having a balance, even, or a nice what's what I'm looking for? Well, just that balance, having it there as far as who you are and who they are, and how you want to proceed as far as making each other happy.
Right.
So, most people say, "Hey, I may be a workaholic," but you have to know how to put that to the side for the sake of the relationship, especially if you have children.
Right.
Knowing when to cut that off. My parents, who are the inspiration for this book, actually, I watched them over the years work very, very hard. My dad is a very hard worker. So I actually watched him grow through the process of having like a work home life balance. He's a pastor. He used to do that. He used to work at one point. He owns businesses, but to him, family is very, very important. And so he had to learn how to turn that thing off.
Right.
Even if you're in ministry, there still needs to be a balance, because your ministry first is at home.
Right. I totally agree. So I want to shift the gears just a little bit, because I would love to hear from Miss Hannah Lovett. First, let me ask you before I get into the other part of the question. Was Mr. Royce already in the public eye before you got married or before you met him?
He was definitely performing a lot, but I wouldn't say he was in the public eye quite yet.
Okay.
It was something he loved to do, and it was something he knew he wanted to always have in his life, but it wasn't something he had committed on doing full time.
Gotcha. Okay, so looking at now your current state, how does it feel to be married to a superstar? And is there a balance? If so, because he is a superstar, I mean, he's rolling. Is there a balance? If so, what was the necessary steps that it took for you to create that balance?
I think if you're in any uncharted territory, there's always going to be, it's not going to be a balance in the beginning, because you've never been there before. You're still learning it. What's the dynamic going to be when he's out of town? How do we make it work? So I think it's always, the balance is something we're always trying to find. He might be out of town for several weeks, come back, and then we have to try to figure it out. It's a constant thing, but as long as we're both trying to get to the place where we're both happy and have an understanding, then the balance is there. But
I agree. I think you're off balance when you think you found balance.
Wow, that's deep. Say that again for the people in the back.
That's good.
I think you're off balance when you think you found balance. I think the key to balance is continuing to balance.
Right. Gotcha. So Gotcha. So let me ask this question just came to mind. Some people may think that balance and compromise is different. Some may think it's the same. What is your take on that, Miss Fiona?
Balance versus compromise. To compromise is actually balancing, to be honest.
Right.
It is one and the same. If there is a divide, finding that middle place, and each person and sometimes you may not find the middle ground. Sometimes you have to table that thing until later. But I do believe that compromise is huge, huge, huge in balancing, because you want to make sure that you're having a healthy relationship. You want to make sure that communication is open. And so being able to, know how to work both sides of that thing is very, very important. So I think they're one and the same.
Right. Okay. So I noticed you talked about that in your book and how it was beneficial and helpful for a relationship and a marriage. And so I would also like to ask you, what are your top 3 marry the one who's?
There's 125 in the book, right?
And I'm on page 100 now. I'm on page 100 now.
Oh, wow.
When I say it's a straight shooter, it just keeps going.
That makes me so happy.
So what are your top 3?
So the number one for me is actually the very first one that's in my book, and I'm reading it now. It says, marry the one who seeks God about ways to love you. Because I think a lot of times, and then also, because in my book, I also reference like the 5 love languages. If they know how to love you first as God loves you, and then as in the way that you need to be loved as well, it makes it whole. It makes it complete. There's an appreciation there. And so having the ability to recognize that need for guidance with every detail, if you have a partner who's like, you know what, I want to know every detail about that person, and I want to know what makes them happy, what brings them the greatest joy, even what makes them sad, because sometimes relationships and marriages are not always happy-go-lucky, and so ways just to kind of, make them feel better about themselves and about their partner as well. And so I think that leads to a forever type of love. The second one is Marry the one who loves the saved and sanctified you, as well as the raw and ratchet, because we all got some ratchet in us. you know, so a lot of times, we put on this facade when we're dating and about the person that we are.
Right.
But there's some deep seated things that are there that we may not, we may have thought that we dealt with or left it, in the past, but it's still there. And
Right.
so if you find someone who's willing to help you kind of navigate through what those things are, as well as still love you through them, hey, you got you somebody for life. And the new one, I don't think this was in my book, but I posted it on social media. It says, marry the one who gives you the McDonald's French fries out of the bottom of the bag, because they taste better at the bottom, right?
Right.
That's where all the good salt and stuff falls. Give me the ones in the bottom of the bag. That's how I know you love me. So just a little fun there. So those are the top three.
Awesome. So, just your quick perspective, really quickly, because we're kind of pressed for time a little bit. But I would like to ask you all: is love really love these days, or is there a misconception?
I think we talked about this a little bit. Like we're saying, like she bakes so well. Just something that we love to do. Well, we love to do. Like I like to eat, and she likes to eat. And sometimes like I'll be like, hey, can we do this? And she'll be like, well, we could, but it won't exactly be that because it's not. I don't have that ingredient. Right. And so I think love is like a pound cake. And so I feel like you have to have all the ingredients to make it love. And if you take one thing out, it's not love anymore. If you add something, it's not love anymore. To whoever that person it is, it could be good, it could be bad. But I think that love is a recipe. I do think that there is love. And I do think people find love. I think you grow in love.
Right.
And yeah, I think love will keep you growing.
Gotcha. But before you answer, Miss Fiona, very quickly, because I do know that Mr. Royce has to go. He has another engagement. So quickly, can you provide your social media platform where people can find you and everything like that?
Oh, sure. Thanks. Just Royce Lovett. Instagram, Facebook, all those places. Just at Royce Lovett. It's really easy.
All right, and y'all make sure y'all look him up on YouTube and support him. And on all you have music on all digital outlets, is right?
Yes.
All right. So I do know that I listen to Up for Love. I love it.
I heard that one today. I love it. I do love it too.
So I do thank you once again, both of you, for joining in and chiming in and giving your insights. And I do pray that you have a great rest of your day. And we'll catch up soon and later.
All right. Cool. Thanks so much. Thanks for having us.
Nice meeting you guys.
All right. So it's
just the two of us.
All right. So it's just us now. Okay. So.
Okay.
So the question was, is love really love these days, or is there a misconception?
I think in some cases love is really love. But I do feel like there can be a misconception as far as what love really is.
Right.
I think I'll use me for an example. I used to write out this list of what I wanted the perfect man to be and what I wanted him: tall, dark, handsome, have a job, a cer, and love god as well. And then I list all of this whole long description. And truth is that there is no perfect person, know. And so if we attribute love to those things, to our long laundry list, then we'll never find it. And then if we feel like we found someone and they skip out on any of those things that we've listed, then we feel like it isn't love and they're not the one. And that's not the case itself. I think love is really what you make it. Right. I think if you apply it according to the way God says apply it, and according to his standards, and again, according to how he loves us, then I think true love can actually be found. But in some cases, it can't. There is a misconception about what it is, what it looks like, and who it should be with as well.
Gotcha. Now that's great. So one last question that came to mind here, and it has more so to do with couples that are in this quarantine time. What tips and advice do you have for couples who may be struggling during this quarantine time?
Mm-hmm. So I saw this cool video of Fantasia and her husband maybe about a week and a half ago. Mm-hmm. And they hit the nail on the head, because it's actually one of my Marry the One who's in the book, about constantly dating one another. Mm-hmm. And although we're on lockdown and we have the COVID going in, there are nice little things that you can do in your house. Set a date night, If you have children, have that family night. But when you put those babies to bed, you and your spouse, if you're
Right.
married, hello, take that take that time and just kind of love on one another, date one another, talk, because we still kind of get caught up in the day to day business of our lives still and all. But take that time. If you are in the dating phase, still same thing. Come in, cook for yourself one night, light some candles, play some soft music, dim the lights, date yourself. It's okay.
Right.
I'm sorry. Or have the person come over and date or whatnot, or do something in the park. Maintain social distancing, y'all, please and
Right.
thank you. And then if you're single, then of course have that time where you just kind of come in and cook for yourself and have that time alone. But I think it's very important to not miss out on those intimate times especially if you're married. And I speak from a marriage perspective.
Mhm.
I watched my mom and dad do it about a week and a half ago. She cooked them this nice dinner, and then everybody else left, and they just kind of talked and laughed and had their own time.
Right.
And so I think that's very, very important. And when you love someone, even in the toughest of times, you still try to find that joy, that peace, and that laughter in those moments to make the whole situation better. So I think that's key.
Right. I remember in your book also, and I'm just having pages flashback as you're
Uh
talking,
huh.
and how you said, when it comes to a relationship, no matter how big, no matter how small, keep it spicy,
Yeah.
keep it
Yeah.
interesting, don't listen, make sure y'all not bored.
Right.
That's the
Right.
quickest
Right.
exit door, the quickest exit way for anybody to leave or have an excuse to leave. So it's very, very important, for those that are dating and those that are actually married, just to remember to keep that bond and, keep things interesting. So I think that's very, very important,
Yeah.
especially while we're on lockdown. Everything is closed.
Yeah. And there's one that's similar that says, find ways to exceed each other every day in loving one another.
Wow.
you know um do something over the top, do something different every day, just to make sure that like you said, that spice is there, that flair is there, that they know you care. And that doesn't mean that you won't have some down moments, some moments that are not so good, but I think love and making each other happy and their joy should outweigh those situations.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming to our closing time here, but I do want to ask you before we end this broadcast, what inspired you to write this book, and what would you like for your readers to take away?
Again, the inspiration was first God Himself, of course, but my parents. My parents have been married 43, almost 44 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
And so, just kind of watching them navigate. And here's the deal with my parents: they didn't hide anything from us. So we saw the good, bad, ugly, and or indifferent.
Right.
And so, but watching them navigate through that and overcome so many things, abuse wasn't an issue, infidelity wasn't it, because that's a laugh.
I think she froze up here a little bit, but while we're trying to figure that out, and I believe she's gonna go back out and come back in. But yes, listen, y'all, make sure, especially during this pandemic, that you are ensuring that you're keeping things spicy, you keeping things interesting. Once again, you don't want your significant other to be bored with you, so you want to keep that interesting. And so I believe she is back. Let's see. All right, so she has to come right back in. So are y'all enjoying this so far? Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can hear you talking, but it was just frozen on my end.
Gotcha.
hmm but yeah, like I was saying, my parents, of course, watching them navigate through so many different things in life, health issues. Again, abuse and infidelity was not some of those issues, but there were enough issues, financial things that came about that would make most people want to call it quits. I think sometimes people are too quick to throw in the towel. Some things you do have to muscle it out and fight that thing out. Um, but they were actually the inspiration for the book overall. Having been someone who is living single now, but has dated before, also just kind of, knowing what I've experienced in relationships
Right.
and what I should have been looking for, and what I didn't look for, you know,
Right.
because sometimes we know something ain't good for us and we'll try to push that thing because we got time, effort, and money invested. Nah, honey, get out. Okay.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
but you know, those were some of the main inspirations there. I forgot the second part of your question. What was it?
What would you like for your readers to take away?
Oh, that love is actually out there, and we should always love. And every book that I inscribe, it says love always. It's not necessarily love always with my name. It's telling you to love always. Love can actually exist. With Marry the One Who, the book, there is a journal that accompanies it. So there's an exercise that you do. You can list the three things that you're looking for, like your three takeaways from the Marry the One Who for that particular section, and
Right.
then you can write your own prayer out as well.
Yes.
Hopefully it will bring light to, especially for those who are dating or married, it will bring light to your current situation. And if things need to be corrected, you can correct it. Hopefully, above everything, that it draws you back to God and to Christ so that you can learn, you know, what you need to know as far as being married, being in love, what relationships should look like, what being single while you wait looks like. Um, and just kind of spark some things in you. I am grateful to God because I've had so many people, some who are way older than I am, to come back and talk about how the book has already blessed them personally and in their marriage, young as well as old. And so it's for every stage of this process. Again, it's for every age. It is a very easy read. That was the whole goal. But again, and there's even there's scripture references in here. Each section begins with a love story from the Bible.
Yes.
Okay. So just make sure you get your copy. But my prayer is that it just really blesses the people.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can personally say, listen, there's anointing in this book. You touch it and it sets you straight just like that. Everything I can say firsthand, everything is very, very helpful. Like I say, it's a straight shooter. You can't miss any guidance in the book. And when I say it, you can hardly put it down. And so, you know, I started reading it Saturday night. And I kind of put it down a little bit. And I said, okay, I don't want to spoil it. And I just had to put it back up. And I'm finding myself in the 100s, and I'm almost done with the book.
Come on. Make sure you go to our social sites and write a review.
Yeah, and me being single, it's helping to know what to look for, know what not to look for, know what you accept and what not to accept from as a man.
Right.
And so if it blessed me as a single person, I know it's gonna bless everybody across the board.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
And just also,
go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna tell you where can people find you and how can they purchase the book?
On social media, it's at Marry the One Who, and then the website link is also.
All righty. Well, I do thank you once again for taking your time out of your busy schedule to help us bring insight and awareness to building healthy relationships and marriages. Like I said, it is much, much needed. And I know this is going to bless somebody. It blessed all four of us. So I'm just excited about everything that's going to happen after this, as far as, the testimonies coming behind this. And so I did want to thank you.
I thank you.
And listen, y'all, go get that book. Go get it, touch it, sleep with it.
And hey, I want to leave out Jeremiah Stewart, JS Agency, because for this connection. So that's my boy. So check him out too.
Jeremiah Stewart,
Jeremiah.
Agency. He's doing it all. He's doing it all.
He is.
When you connect with the right people, favor follows.
Most definitely.
So yes, make sure y'all go support Miss Fiona James and Mr. Royce Lovett. They both have great things, not good things, but great things happening and coming up soon. So make sure that you support. Your support is greatly, greatly appreciated and needed. So
I appreciate you too. I'm excited about the play.
listen,
Come on.
we're trying to get Rona up out of here.
I know. Get me
But yes,
behind it.
either way,
Yeah.
I know that it's gonna be great, and it gives you a different, perspective by then, as far as love and relationships and marriage and stuff like that, what not to do, and so that's why
Right.
I'm talking about it now, so
Exactly.
that you can say, "Oh, I remember them," saying this and saying that,
Right.
and so everything comes together, and just how God orchestrates certain things. Hey, He's in charge. He leads, we follow.
Right. Most definitely.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you have a great rest of your day, and stay
You
safe,
as well.
and just be blessed.
You too. Thank you so much for having me. God bless you.
No problem.
All right. Take care.
Well, you have heard it from both Miss Fiona James and Mr. and Mrs. Lovett, and I pray that today's topic, Marry the One Who, has blessed you, it has inspired you, it has motivated you, and has just created that open door for you to shift and to enhance your relationship and your marriage. So before we go, please don't forget to check out my website at www.levelupprostudios.com. And listen, y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, all right? Everything as it pertains to Level Up Productions can be found on those two social media tools and platforms. All right. So y'all have a great rest of your day. I do thank y'all for sticking it out with me. And I pray once again that everything that was said will bless you. Y'all have a great day and stay safe.